Well, what is puzzling to me is the whistleblower, Tomer Yerushalmi. She wasn't really blowing a whistle. She was just trying to counter false propaganda that was accusing the army of trying to cover up its obscenities and its violations. And she seemed to think that this torture that she was exposing is normal, and that if there's any real torture, that the army is investigating it. So this is most bizarre, that the level of morality has sunk so low in Israel that, and she's a woman, you would expect a woman to have more compassion. But no, she's just a cruel, soulless individual, basically exposing the soullessness of Israeli society. And then she's caught up and she's accused of undermining. It really is, it's so bizarre. It's far beyond even the worst that Hitler did. And no one was exposing and pretending to expose. And Hitler was black and white. It was clear. We're going to just kill everybody that we don't like. Whereas Israel is trying to pretend that it has some kind of morality. So the fact that this is all being exposed is, well, it's great that it's being exposed, but it's horrifying to know the depth. I mean, when I think of a Palestinian, how he is brutalized physically and raped, and his body, his inner organs destroyed by some kind of evil force. It's beyond comprehension. So my hope is that this will not allow Israel to continue to exist in its present form. It's got to, it needs the same kind of self-correction and re-education that, for instance, after the Vietnam debacle, that you need re-education of people after, and you need to basically wake them up to their own brutality. So we've reached that point where I don't see how. And at the same time, Trump is pushing ahead with the Abraham Accord, and he's pretending that none of this is happening, and he's allowing the starvation to continue. The interesting, it's the starvation. We can't really see the starvation so well. I mean, we don't see people falling over dead. So that's what Israel is doing now. I think it's lessening its torture, or maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just continuing everything. I don't know. I can't understand the Israeli mind.
Mr. Wahlberg, you mentioned a point about how the Israeli society views the way that the prison officials deal with the abductees in the Israeli prisons. Some months ago, what happened in an Israeli prison, a Palestinian died because of the sexual violence against him. When Israeli officials wanted to investigate it, and we know what happens when Israeli officials investigate a crime like that, the Israeli society went to that prison and protested the right. They were saying that every official in the prison has every right to do whatever it wants with the prisoners inside of the prisons. Your thoughts on that?
Well, and there were protesters that went, and they were beaten up, and they were threatened to be killed. So, it really is, it's hard to even make sense enough to speak about these atrocities. That they should be stopped. I mean, every second, I think this has got to end. It's got to end. That's the only way I can prevent myself from going crazy, is to just keep demanding that this stop, that this inhumanity. But I mean, it just confirms, certainly in my mind, and I hope in more and more people's minds, that Israel is an obscenity and that it has to be shut down, just like Hitler's Germany had to be shut down. It's hard to imagine other regimes. That, I mean, there are many horrible regimes and torture and killing, but there's nothing that reaches this level of obscenity and inhumanity. So really, every day I just keep insisting it's got to stop. We can't let Israel keep acting as if it's a legitimate state. But it's not. It's disproved. Any claim
Yes.
to be a legitimate state, it's gone completely by this.
There were also protesters saying that security officials, prisoner officials, have every right to sexually assault Palestinian abductees.
I mean, I don't even, no comment, really. I mean, that is just such a ludicrous statement that there are no limits, that anything goes. I mean, that is the philosophy of the West anyway, that the individual can do whatever he likes, and that's the sexual degeneracy of the West. We see that acting out in Israel in terms of killing, that anything goes. They're above the law, that they have no need to abide by international standards. Somehow that Jews are above other. It's supremacism. It's supremacy. You know, the idea that anyone would want to take part and be part of this supremacy is very sad. That people still somehow accept that Jews are above the law. I mean, this disproves it, because
yes.
What they do is just inhuman. So they are not part of the law. They are underneath. They are beneath. They are Untermenschen, as Hitler called them. They are proving that they are not human beings. So in
exactly.
a way, they've proved Hitler correct.
Mr. Wahlberg, let's come back to the topic at hand. Israeli courts have been extending detentions until the end of the war. What does that mean exactly when Israel has been at different wars for decades?
You mean they're trying to keep the tension as a maximum as possible? So that is their way of dealing with the crisis. So so the idea is that the Palestinians will finally just give in because the tension will be too great and they will just submit. But that's not true, because Hamas, which some of its fighters are well, they're in Rafah. Hamas is saying we're not going to submit, and if Israel just keeps terrorizing us, we will just we will kill. We will violate the non-existent ceasefire. I mean, Israel's not abiding by it, but Hamas is, and Hamas is saying, finally, if you keep pursuing and killing us, we will respond. We will violate the ceasefire and respond. So really, that's the only way to deal with Israel when it's doing this, is through force.
And my final question, Mr. Wahlberg, despite mounting evidence of torture and abuse, key Western powers continue shielding the Israeli regime. What does that tell us about the current international order?
It's very sad. India, which has its own racist Hindutva prime minister and love of their own supremacism. So they like Israel because Israel is also a supremacist. But when you think of it, you can't have two different nations that are above the law somehow. I mean, it's odd that non-Jews flock towards Israel and like its brutality and its wealth and its way of dealing with reality, but they don't understand that that means that Israel is the only one that can do this. So it's very foolish for these other nations to be friends with Israel, because Israel will just destroy them when it wants to too. And it's getting
Yes.
more and more to that point. It's more and more powerful. It's taking over more and more of the Middle East. and it's attacking continually and making enemies. So it's really it's very. I would never make friends with some entity that's so inhuman, because they're going to shaft you in the end. They're going to betray and destroy you as well.
Eric Wahlberg, author and journalist, joining us from Toronto. Thank you.